Tonight on SportsCorner, the Golden Flashes lost in the MAC Championship semifinals this past week. We'll break down the quarters, the semis, and the finals soon.
Team USA defeated the Dominican Republic in a thrilling World Baseball Classic semifinal. We'll tell you how the U.S. came out on top and more.
And the Sacramento Kings. DeMar DeRozan scored 41 points yesterday, beating the Utah Jazz, as a brand new episode of SportsCorner starts right now. From the Franklin Hall studio on the campus of Kent State University, this is SportsCorner alongside Maddox Miller. I'm Evan Schofield. Maddox, spring break took away some classes, but sports still thrived, especially on campus, with some breaking news we have about head coach Todd Starkey. So before we head into the athletics again, there's some breaking news, some changes to the women's basketball team. Todd Starkey has left the program. He's leaving Kent State to go to the University of Arizona as the basketball team's new assistant coach. Starkey has been head coach of the Flashes for 10 seasons, and his colleague Fran Recchia, who has been a part of the program along with him, has now been promoted to take the head coach spot for Kent.
Some big breaking news, but now we're going to head over to Schoonover Stadium, where the Kent State Golden Flashes baseball team defeated Central Michigan, winning 6-4. The Flashes' overall record is at 15-4, which is one of the best starts to a season since their 2023 squad. Colton Schaller started the Flashes off strong with a 2-run home run in the first inning, with Sawyer Solitaria, who had walked earlier, giving them a 2-0 lead. Central Michigan responded in the third and sixth inning, but Kent State regained control later on, completing their series sweep. The Flashes are scheduled to host Wright State on March 17th at 3 p.m.
Darcy Hogg leads the Flashes with a top 20 placement at the Michael A. Marino Classic in Myrtle Beach on Sunday. Hogg completed round one at even par before consecutive bogeys on the 12th and 11th holes. 3 birdies over the final 15 holes brought him back to even before the second round. Picking up birdies on holes 13 and 16 led Hogg to sit at 1 under through 27 holes. Kent State is tied for 13th at 13 over as a team as of the second round.
And yesterday, the Kent State gymnastics team closed off a phenomenal MAC home meet, celebrating head coach Bryce Biggins' retirement. The team finished with a 195.875 to 194.150 versus Eastern Michigan. The Flashes opened with a 49.025 on vault, with Sophia Balco winning the event at a 9.850 score. The team then had their highest score of the day with a 49.175 on uneven bars, with a career high of 9.925 from Charlie Benner. The Flashes finished 48.50 on balance beam, with Zoe Rankin's season high 9.90. Next up for the Flashes, travel to Bowling Green Saturday for the MAC Championship.
And while the Kent State men's basketball team lost in the MAC tournament, their season is not over, as they were awarded a national invite tournament bid on Sunday. Taking on the Illinois State Redbirds, the Flashes will head to Doug Collins Court to play on Wednesday night. This will be the Flashes' second straight appearance in the national invite tournament, as they went on a 2-run winning 2 games before being eliminated by Loyola last season. Now, I know there's a few things we wanted to talk about today. Obviously, head coach Todd Starkey being one of them, but I think first we should get into something. Kent baseball, who has been on a roll as of recent, and I wanted to hear your thoughts, Maddox.
No, I mean, it's truly phenomenal on all levels. They beat Ohio State a few days ago. They beat Central Michigan, beat Bowling Green. It just seems like this team just continues to win. 3 series sweeps already on the season. They're off to a phenomenal start. It seems like they took a big loss against Wright State, at least a sizable loss, and they did not let that get in the way. They proceeded to sweep Rhode Island, and then, like I said, the Buckeyes and the Falcons, and now the Chippewas are down. It'll be a good test, though, as they do play Wright State again. They're going to want to kind of get their get-back against Wright State.
100%, and especially what I see in this team is their MAC record. I see their 9-1 MAC record. I see the dominance they've performed. I see, you know, obviously Sawyer Solitaria has been electric. He has been the top of every statistic on this team. .360 average, 1.1 OPS, 23 runs, who leads the team. by far, and I just think the dominance of this team is really showing, and it's their best start since 2023. I think that's really going to carry into the rest of the season, especially as MAC play continues.
Yeah, I mean, MAC play is going to be kind of where they make their money.
Yeah.
This seems like a team that easily should be the favorite for the Mid-American
100%.
Conference, and it'll be really exciting to see what they do the rest of the way. But I do want to get into Todd Starkey now. Some really big news. Starkey, 10 years at Kent State, and now he's off to a Power 4 team in Arizona. What does this kind of shake up for Kent State?
Well, I think they have a lot of trust in Fran Recchia, their new head coach of the women's team. I think since she's been here as long as Todd Starkey has, I'm excited to see what kind of, energy it brings as a new coach. I'm excited to see what she learned from Coach Starkey and how she leads the ladies. The Kent State's 7th head coach now. I really love the energy they're bringing. I think they have a lot of trust in her, especially.
Yeah, Recchia she became the associate head coach in 2018, and what I really like for this is the transfer portal, because whenever a head coach leaves, the transfer portal becomes a big topic of discussion. What I like is this is someone who's in-house, who has built kind of a rapport and a reputation with the roster and with the rest of the coaching staff, so hopefully, obviously you're going to lose a few pieces here and there.
A few seniors along the way.
Yeah, but hopefully this allows people who maybe were considering transferring once they heard the news of Starkey leaving can now be like, okay, pretty much this is almost like a Starkey Jr. taking over, where hopefully you can continue to build that reputation up.
And it's hard to not think of Kent State sports and not think of Todd Starkey. He built such a foundation here. Second winningest coach in school history, 179 and 127. 4 postseason WNIT berths, 2 MAC titles. It's hard to not to ignore that. And I think that legacy has really been left. But certainly for the future, it'll be good. So we'll see what happens in the next few years. But that's all the time we have for KSU baseball, but we're not done just yet here on campus, as we have a little more to talk about. Maddox.
That is right. The madness has arrived. The March Madness brackets have been set, so we'll look at who could be on upset watch, who could make a Cinderella run, and more.
Quarterback at Hardaway High School, college first-round draft pick, on and off the field. We were taught to not show any signs of weakness. During the football season, I would stop eating, but I didn't know I was depressed. I thought that something was wrong with me. For 20 plus years was physical. We didn't have any education behind what mental health was. I started to learn it starts here first. If this is together, I'll be better as a father, as a man, and as a husband. Put the importance on your mental health. I'm not scared to talk about it anymore. The first tool is therapy. The second one is positive self-talk. And then journaling, putting your thoughts on paper. We have to redefine what being a strong man is and heal, love your mind.
Hello? Mom, you gotta stop this. I'm in a library, okay? What could happen?
Yeah, stuff happens. 1 in 4 college students end up in the ER. That's why you need Emergency. Everything you need to handle an emergency. Share important info with your family and friends. Feeling unsafe? Help is 1 tap away with Urgent Alert. Upload your insurance card and your medical consent form so your family can speak to medical staff. Download Emergency now while it's still free, before stuff happens.
Welcome back. Transitioning onto the basketball court, the Kent State Golden Flashes competed in the MAC tournament on Saturday, falling just short of making the finals. We welcome in Josh Zaramet, Lucas Foote. Welcome in to go game by game in the tournament.
That's right, Evan. The first round of the men's MAC tournament started on a high note, with the undefeated Miami Redhawks losing their first game of the season to the UMass Minutemen by a final of 87-83. Next up, the Toledo Rockets took down the Bowling Green Falcons in a nail-biter 77-76. Following that matchup, the Akron Zips defeated the Buffalo Bulls by 3. The Bulls trailed by a large margin but had a late rally that came up short as they ran out of gas. Finally, the Kent State Golden Flashes soundly defeated the Ohio University Bobcats by 11. Now flipping over the women's side of the court, the Flashes lost a potential upset opportunity to the Redhawks by a final score of 58-65. Up next, the Central Michigan Chippewas dropped a 1-point game to the Bobcats 88-89. The Bobcats held a 10-point lead for much of the middle of the game, but gave it up with a few minutes remaining before seizing control. The Ball State Cardinals enjoyed a 75-63 win over the Bowling Green Falcons. Last up in the quarterfinals, the Rockets took a 67-56 win over the Minutemen.
The semifinals saw the Minutemen crumble after their upset win in the first round, losing by 10 points, sending the Rockets to the championship. UMass was outmatched the entire night. Next up, Akron and Kent met up for their third rendition of the rivalry this season, and similar to the first two, the Zips took the win. The first half seemed to be heading towards another Akron blowout before the Flashes stormed back, coming up just short of a championship appearance. The women's bracket saw Miami absolutely destroy the Bobcats in a 28-point win. 4 of the Redhawks players finished in double figures, while only 1 did for the Bobcats. In the final women's game of the semifinals, the Rockets outlasted the Ball State Cardinals by 4. Both Toledo teams earned a championship appearance on the heels of a Patricia A. Numgus 29-point performance, good for her career high.
Now heading into the championship Saturday games, the men's side saw the Zips come from behind fashion over Toledo by a final of 79-76. Heading into halftime, Akron trailed by 12 points, but regained control and eventually the win on a last-second buzzer-beating three-pointer, courtesy of Shema Scott. Tavar Johnson and Monty Lyles led the way in scoring for the Zips with 15 each, while Leroy Blyden Jr. scored 21 for the Rockets. Akron will enter the NCAA tournament as a 12th seed and will take on the 5th seed Texas Tech Red Raiders on Friday. Flipping over to the women's side now, the Redhawks took down Toledo by 10 points in a 68-58 win on Saturday. Miami held control for most of the game, never trailing once on the night. Amber Treader led the Redhawks in both points and rebounds with 23 and 10, while Numga also led Toledo in those categories as well as assists. The Redhawks will play the West Virginia Mountaineers in the first round of the NCAA tournament on Friday as the 13th seed.
I mean, holy crap. You got a lot. You two had a
Well
lot
done,
to get
guys.
through.
That was great.
Yeah, that was phenomenal. One thing that we forgot to mention was the Miami Redhawks men's team still in the March Madness tournament.
Yep.
First of all, I guess the question is, do we think they deserve to be in, and what do we think of their chances against SMU in that first of 4 game?
Personally, do I think they should have been in it? I mean, they lost 1 game and it was in a tournament, so if there's anyone that deserves to be in it, yes, it's them. Obviously, their schedule probably not as good, and a loss to UMass isn't great.
Especially in the first round.
So, did they deserve to be in it? Sure. Will they do good? Who knows?
We also saw the committee chair, I believe, say that they weren't even the last team selected to be in, even though they were ranked the last team, but they went in over some of the teams also in that first 4, like Texas, and I think they deserve to be in there because 31 wins in the regular season. I mean, that's 0 losses. Yeah, it's impressive.
No, I mean,
No matter what happened in the MAC tournament, that's still proven a team that got all those wins and delivered a lot of good performances throughout the season. So
yeah, now kind of looking at the home team, Kent State still playing some postseason basketball.
yes,
I do want to talk about that semifinal game though. This team just can't beat Akron.
Not at
And
all.
What needs to be done to try and get over this hump next season?
So I'll look at that second half when they come out, they go on that big run, they get it within 2, and it really feels like me and Josh were there, and it really felt like, man, they might actually have a chance now. But then Akron kept hitting those big shots, and they never gave back the lead to Kent State. And I don't know what it is about Akron, but Kent State always goes into that game. They score a little bit. At least they made it close this time, but this time not able to get over that hump still.
Akron just has a lot of experienced players, and you talked about what do you think they need to do next year to win this. Personally, Akron's graduating a bunch of players this season.
Yeah.
They've been together for a long time. They're back to now back MAC champions, and I think the biggest thing for Kent State is just going to be, carrying that momentum over. Because like Lucas said, they did have a great second half against Akron, but they've been embarrassed too many times this season against them.
Yeah, embarrassing, especially when Rob Whaley Jr. is your top scorer with nothing against him, but he's your top scorer with 15 points. I mean, the ball just, when it was spread around, you hit 29% field goals, 26% in 3 points. That's just unacceptable, especially at this point in the year where, it's a very big game against Akron and a very important MAC champion.
One thing I do want to note here before we stop talking about
Sure.
Kent is before the game, Coach Senderoff said that they needed to out-rebound Akron in order to win this game. And they actually did out-rebound Akron, but they still couldn't come up and I think that just goes to show that Akron can beat you in so many ways, and that's why they won the MAC.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in the Toledo game where they can maintain a lead and they can also come back down big, and that could bode very well for them in the NCAA tournament.
And, you know, guys, talking postseason basketball is a ton of fun. But while the MAC tournament crowned a champion, the NCAA tournament is on the horizon, as Selection Sunday happened last night. The MAC was awarded 2 bids to the men's NCAA tournament, as the champion Akron Zips and Miami Redhawks are both in. The 4 1 seeds were given to Arizona, Michigan, Duke, and Florida, while Auburn, Oklahoma, Indiana, and San Diego State are all out of the tournament. Tomorrow and Wednesday, we will see the first 4 play, while the first round of the tournament starts on Thursday and Friday. The championship will happen on April 6th at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Selection Sunday also brought the NCAA women's bracket from teams like Charleston, who will be making their first appearance, to Tennessee, who has appeared in the bracket every March since 1982. The undefeated UConn Huskies are the overall #1 seed as they look for back-to-back championships, riding a 50-game win streak. The Huskies are seeking their 13th national championship and 7th perfect season. The other #1 seeds include UCLA, Texas, and South Carolina. Miami, Ohio earned the lone MAC seed after winning this past weekend in Cleveland.
A lot of March action. Now broadening our horizons, we had a plethora of conference championships. So to help us out, we welcome in Connor Faith and Michael DiFilippo as we are going to get started with a top 10 ACC matchup between the ranked Duke Blue Devils and ranked Virginia Cavaliers. 1 seed and 2 seed in the ACC championship game. Duke #1 overall in the country. Virginia #10 overall. As in the first quarter here, Malik Brown going to get the dunk here early. He'd finish with 6 points on the night. Later in the first, 6-6 3 by Malik Tomad. And now here's another 3, this time by Jakari White. He finished with 6 points on 2 for 4 from 3. We go later in the first, 21-20. Caden Boozer with a tough layup. And it's going to be Boozer again, one half of the Boozer brothers for this Blue Devils team. 36-29 Cavaliers trying to make a comeback, and they would, getting it down to a 1-point game. And there's a huge 3 by Sam Lewis. 17 points on 7 for 11 shooting by Lewis. 3-point game now with a little over 5 minutes to go. And Thomas with a beautiful drive, beautiful hop step there, getting the reverse to go. 66 all here as we head under 3 minutes. It would be a 3 attempt by Isaiah Evans. Missed. Caden Boozer would get the rebound as the Duke Blue Devils would win the ACC championship.
All right, we will take you out to the Big 12 championship as the 2-seeded Houston Cougars take on the #1 Arizona Wildcats as Joseph Tugler makes that basket right there. And then watch this play. And wow, that was a big dunk right there as Pete makes that dunk right there. As the next play as Jed Bradley, he passes to Brandon Burns and makes the 3-pointer. Then we take you off to the second half as Pete makes the jumper. And then this play right here, dribbles, passes, and then makes the basket, and it's fouled. Joseph gets the foul on Mocha Krivvis. Then this play right here, as Braden passes to Ivan Kircher, makes a 3-point basket, and that will be the game as Arizona beats Houston 79-74.
We now take you to Illinois for the Big Ten tournament as the 1-seed Michigan Wolverines take on the 7-seed Purdue Boilermakers. We take you to the first half as Yaxel Lendeborg takes a pass from Elliot Cadeau and splashes a 3 to give the Wolverines the lead. Then we go to 7 minutes 25 seconds in the first half as Elliot Cadeau makes a move and hits a 3 to keep the Wolverines moving 20-17. Then we take you to the end of the first half where the Wolverines are not done as Elliot Cadeau once again gets involved, getting past the Boilermaker defense to tie the game in the final seconds. Now we take you to the second half where the Boilermakers are starting to get involved as Fletcher Lawyer takes a pass and drains a 3 to give Purdue the lead. Now we go to 9 minutes in the second half as the Wolverines are down but not out. Elliot Cadeau and Adai Mara combine for an alley-oop dunk to inch the Wolverines closer to that lead. Now, we take you to the final minutes of the second half where Purdue feels their threat but does not let it stop them. After trying to find anyone, they get this half-court heave received by Jack Benter.
How about Purdue? This is the SEC tournament semifinal in Nashville. Loser goes home. Ole Miss Rebels, Arkansas Razorbacks. This should be a good one. Hot start for the game. This will be Darius Acup Jr. and alley-oop. Billy Richmond III there. A beautiful dunk there from Richmond. Arkansas going to lead this one 4-2 as we head into the 4-minute mark. AJ Storr is going to hit the 3 3-point jumper there lessens the cushion for Ole Miss now as we stay in the first half. Keza Giffa hits a bad pass, and Acuff steals, and Acuff has the layup. 24 points on the night, 37 the night before. He has just been on a tear as of recent, 28-35 now as we head to the second half. 17 minutes to go. This will be Acuff again, and he's got it 42-44 now. We're at the 15:52 mark, tie game. Malik Dia is going to miss it, but he'll trick Travis Perry for 3 now under a minute. Eduardo Klafke driving. He's going to pass to Perry again, and he has been money, now only down by 3. One last chance for Ole Miss to send it to overtime. He's got it. This time it's Malik Thomas, and here we come, overtime. Now there's going to be 12 seconds left. Now Storr is going to get the call, drives and dunks. Let's take a replay on that. We'll get a foul. Well done there. Arkansas going to take this one 93-90, visiting Hawaii on Thursday.
Well, guys, it is finally here.
We did it.
March Madness,
We're here.
months of college basketball, and finally,
We did it, Mom.
arguably the best tournament in sports has arrived. But for every team that is going to the dance,
Sure.
there are some teams that maybe feel snubbed, maybe feel like they should have received an invitation and it just didn't come in the mail. I want to take a look at these first 4 teams. Connor, who do you think was one of the biggest snubs of this year's March Madness?
Well, for me, my biggest snub was the Auburn Tigers. This is a team that averaged 82.7 points per game. They had more impressive wins against an, at the time, number 4 Florida team and a number 10 St. John's team. And while their defense wasn't exactly the greatest, giving up 79.4 points per game, they really, in my opinion, still deserve their spot.
Let's toss it over to the other side of the table. Michael?
Well, I say one of the teams that should have gotten in was Oklahoma. I think their late surge was not enough, unfortunately, despite making a good run in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, to add on to that, I'm with you, Michael. I also said Oklahoma. This is a team that, struggled really early, but, got some wins back. They managed to win over Vanderbilt on the road. They were a top 15 team, certainly something to look at there, and, beat several of the league bubble teams, winning versus Texas on the road, Missouri. These are teams, solid teams that they're beating that, obviously I just think they could have, if they could make a earlier push, for sure, it was something that could have been possible. For sure.
Vanderbilt went on to lose in the SEC title game to Arkansas. They're a 5 seed, though. Missouri a 10 seed. So
What do you got?
Oklahoma, I can kind of see getting in. Yeah. I personally liked San Diego State. They went 22-11, but
the most impressive record.
You said Auburn.
Yes.
Auburn went 17-16.
I mean,
they're a barely 500 team, and I'm sorry. I'm looking at this overall bubble. We had Oklahoma, Auburn, San Diego State, and Indiana all miss the tournament. 19-15 for Oklahoma, 17-16 for Auburn, 22-11 for San Diego State, 18-14 for Indiana. This might be one of the worst bubbles I've ever seen in my life. I don't think truly any 4 of these teams got snubbed. I think you could make a case for them, but quite frankly, I think the tournament's better off without them. But speaking of the tournament itself, with every dominant or Power 4 monster, there's the upsets. So I want to ask, starting with Michael, who do you think's on upset watch heading into this tournament?
I could definitely say Wisconsin because, last year they were upset as well, and I think it might happen to them again. And they're also playing like a 30-plus win team against High Point or whatever because you never know what could happen.
Yeah.
Quickly, let's go to you.
For me, it's North Carolina. They were upset by number 5 Clemson in the ACC tourney, and despite an impressive win against Duke, they just haven't scored more than 70 points in a game since February 28th.
Wow.
So they seem to be really gassed right now.
UNC down their best player in Caleb Wilson dealing with a broken thumb injury. I also had them on my list.
No, we don't have a lot of time, but I will go number 11 South Florida over number 6 Louisville. I just think the Mikael Brown injury is a little worse than people are letting on. I think that's going to be an issue for them.
Yeah, I kind of have BYU on this list. They're playing either Texas or NC State. BYU's kind of struggled all year. Even if they make it out of the first round, I don't see this Cougars team making a deep run at all.
All right, well, thanks, guys, for joining us, and that's all we have for the NCAA. But don't forget to tune in to the first games of March Madness starting tomorrow with the 16 seeds. And the Dallas Mavericks played against the Cleveland Cavaliers yesterday at Rocket Mortgage Arena and secured a win. Find out how.
Penn State looks to face some tough competition in the NIT tournament. We'll point out some of the top players to watch out for after this.
That was odd.
morning. Hope you all had a good weekend and are ready to be inspired. One quick thing I want to remind you guys to be studying.
Major key alert. Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Class, today we're talking about inspirational quotes.
You want to get that paper? You better turn in that paper and get an A+. That's a major key. Another one. Mogul talk. You want to reach the mountaintop? You got to go hard. To succeed, you have to believe. Stay focused. Fly higher than the eagle. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote from recent history?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
Welcome back, everyone. We just discussed a lot in college ball, but what about the NBA? We welcome in Matthew McConaughey and Ryan Mead to take us back to the courts. But first, let's head to Xfinity Mobile Arena, where the visiting Trailblazers taking on the 76ers heading into the first quarter. VJ Edgecombe shooting and misses, gets it back, and he's going to say hello on the dunk, just jumping over defenders there. He had 18 points. People call him the generator for a reason. 22-26 now with the 25-second marker coming up. This will be Edgecombe to Quentin Grimes on the alley-oop off the steal. Check this out. Bada bada boom. All right, there it is. 26-30. Now he had 31 points on the night. Now taking you to the third. Andre Drummond has it. He's going to pass to Justin Edwards, has the corner, nothing but net there. Needed some help without Tyrese Maxey, obviously not playing on the night. 5-point lead for Philly. Fourth quarter now. Denis Avdia has it and drills the three, ties the game there. 25 points in the night, and it'll be a tie game as we hit the 7-minute mark. Grimes testing Portland's defense, and he's got it on the crossover and the floater there. 84-95 now as we hit a crucial mark in the game. Portland needs everything to go perfect. Justin Edwards says, no, we don't need you to do that. He steals it and he dunks it. Final score going to be 103-109. Philly takes this one. They get their 20th home win in the fight for the Atlantic Division. This has just been a great game, especially from Grimes there.
From Philadelphia to Sacramento, the Kings hosting the Utah Jazz. In the first, Isaiah Collier drives in, gets the foul, and gets to the land, ties it at 8-all. DeMar DeRozan passing it around, driving in, slams it down, Here's the Jazz, Sacramento again. McDermott lobs it up for Cardwell and slams it down. Here's the Jazz. Nick Clifford drives in and gets a nice layup. Doug McDermott in the corner puts up the three, bullseye, 99-90. Daquan Plowden going up and slams it down. It says travel that one. Here's the Sacramento Kings again. Out deep from downtown, it's good. That was Daquan Plowden, Another three from Sacramento, that one's good. They won this one 116-111.
And now the 22-win Dallas Mavericks travel to Cleveland to take on the 41-win Cavaliers. And now Durant Schroeder's going to pass this one to Devon Mitchell, and he's going to do a windmill signature move. What an incredible play. Watch this replay as he just is able to dish it on in for an easy two. Now in the second quarter, the Cavs were up by 2, but then Najee Marshall for the Mavericks sprints to the basket, and after a flushing down the toilet roll is going to go right on in. And now the ball is going to go right to Marshall, who throws it all the way down to Cooper Flagg with an incredible dunk. Cooper Flagg started to look like the #1 overall pick like he was, except for right here where he gets exposed by Keon Ellis and runs right by him for an incredible dunk. Watch this replay, just jumping over everyone. And now Cooper Flagg, he's going to get to the basket for a hard and one. The Mavericks had an 8-point lead at this point in the game, and they were starting to pull away a little bit. And then Cooper Flagg once again, and now the Mavericks are going to pull this one off 130-120, an incredible win for the Mavericks.
We're going to finish things up in Madison Square Garden. I was actually in New York over spring break. So Knicks taking on the Warriors 22-16 here as Jalen Brunson, the Brunson burner, Going to get that three in to cut the lead to 3. 53 seconds in the first, 30-21. And Warriors trying to pull off a huge upset as Brandon Pajemski going to lace that corner three in, 33-21. Now we'll head to the second. 2 minutes to go, 52-37. Trying to make a comeback are the Knicks, and a beautiful floater by Brunson. Brunson with 30 points, but on 9 for 20 shooting. Josh Hart going to get stuck in traffic here, but he'll find his teammate OG Anunoby for the corner three. 69-65 now. We enter 1 minute to go in the fourth quarter. 1 point game. Knicks up. Brunson, fader, gets it to go. A huge shot by one of the clutchest players in the NBA. Pajemski now, with about 10 seconds to go, going to drive and get the layup. He finished with 25 points on the night, but unfortunately on the final play here, Quinton Post is going to turn it over to Landry Shamet as the Knicks are going to take this one 110-107.
Well, the Knicks are having fun, aren't they?
Oh, yes, they are.
And I know, I'm sure you had fun in New York.
I did. I saw Madison Square Garden. Beautiful stadium.
Now, I wanted to mention, right now in the NBA, we've hit a point where it's not as fun. You know, we've hit a kind of, the dog days. The good teams are like, where are the playoffs? The bad teams are like, we're done. But something shook up the NBA not that many days ago. Bam Adebayo dropping 83 points. Passing Kobe Bryant and just under Wilt Chamberlain for the single game point record. What do you guys think? Ryan, you want to start us off?
Well, the big question a lot of people have been asking is this a valid game?
Yeah.
Because of how many free throws he shot, and compared to Kobe's game, Kobe didn't shoot that many free throws. But absolutely it is. I mean, what was he supposed to do? Stop scoring? I mean, Kobe Bryant's, a great player, but I think that a lot of people were just kind of overreacting a little bit because of how much people love Kobe Bryant. But what do you think, Maddox?
I mean, I think 83 is 83. And in 10 years, 83 is still going to be 83.
Of course.
And in 20 years, 83 will still be 83. So absolutely, I think Bam Adebayo, completely valid. Eric Spoelstra left him in the game. What is he supposed to do? Just not score? Matthew, what do you think about this historic?
I got to agree with you guys. 83 points is 83 points, no matter how you do it. But I got to ask you this. Is it better than Kobe's? Is it better than Kobe's 81-point game?
That is a great
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I guess when you ask in the term of ethical hoops, I guess you can say Bam Adebayo's is a little less ethical than Kobe's 81. However, again, I feel like if it wasn't Bam Adebayo, if his name wasn't attached to it, if this was Luka Doncic or Anthony Edwards, people would be like, yeah, this is the second best scoring performance in NBA history. It's the fact that someone who's kind of considered like a B-plus player in Bam Adebayo.
And they just kept him in. Like, you don't see the Cavaliers keeping in Donovan Mitchell all game, if they're winning, and that's never gonna happen. You're not gonna see that with LeBron, you're not gonna see that with Steph, you're not gonna see it with any of these guys. So, and the argument, he shot a lot of free throws. That's not his fault.
Yeah.
Why is it his fault that they fouled him? Because, we don't want him to shoot the threes. We don't want him to do. Dude, just get over it. 83 points is 83 points, and I think that's where we all stand here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The Heat contending for a playoff spot right now, so I do want to talk about the playoffs. We are right there near the final stretch of the regular season, and kind of that post-All-Star break hoops, certain teams kind of fall off, certain teams, though, take meteoric rises. So I have to ask, heading into the playoffs, who is currently the scariest team in the NBA? We'll start with Ryan.
For me, I think it's the Pistons. They're currently in the lead right now. I think that they're a very scary team. The only downside for them is they are a young team, and as we've seen in the past, young teams don't really do well in the playoffs. But who do you have at?
And they have J.B. Bickerstaff, their head coach, and if Cavaliers fans had anything to say, they would say he struggles in the playoffs. I have the OKC Thunder, defending NBA champs. I think they're the best team until they're not. Matthew, what do you got?
I got the San Antonio Spurs. Wembanyama averaging 24 points a game. And then also, they had an 11-game win streak at one point. And guess who was in that 11-game win streak? The Thunder.
Oh my goodness, Evan.
Give me the Boston Celtics. They've just been powerful all year.
Very, very dangerous. But unfortunately, that is all the time we have to talk NBA. And now we're going to send it over to Stone O'Brien, who has some things to set straight in college basketball.
Thanks, Maddox. While everyone plans their March Madness brackets, tonight we are setting straight the National Invitational Tournament, so let's get right into it. First off, if you're a Kent State fan, watch closely. We're going to start with the rest of the Winston-Salem Regional with top 4 seeds that include Wake Forest, a Yale team that won the Ivy League regular season title, championship, and a Dayton team that nearly stole a bid to the Big Dance, and other teams in the bracket that include CAA regular season champ and regular season opponent of Kent State, UNC Wilmington. Kent State will be in for a challenge to get out of the region. Players to watch out for include Yale's leading scorer Nick Townsend, who's averaging 16.2 points on over 50% from the field over his last 5 games, and a player that can make an impact on both sides of the court is Wake Forest senior forward Trevon Spillers, which Advanced Analytics has him as the most impactful defender for the Demon Deacons. While he shoots over 54% from the field, the region is shaping up to be a fun one. My prediction, I think Yale emerges out on top over Kent State to claim the regional. And then moving on to the top half of the bracket, an overall #1 seed out Auburn, who just missed out on an NCAA tournament, being one of the first 4 teams out. The winner of this regional would face the Winston-Salem trip in the semifinals, but to get there, they will have to go through what I believe is the wackiest bracket in the entire field of 32. Auburn will look to silence the doubters as they open up with South Alabama. St. Thomas will make its first ever NCAA postseason appearance after a 24-9 season where they finished as the Summit League runner-up. They will play Seattle and West Coast Conference Defensive Player of the Year Wilhelm Heimbrod and his 2.59 blocks per game that ranks 5th nationally. Other players to watch out for include Auburn's Keyshawn Hall, averaging nearly 23 points 20 a game. George Mason will enter on a bit of a cold streak, losing 6 out of 8 entering the tournament, but Corey Mincy can still be a threat to impact the game with his team leading 39% clip from beyond the arc. My prediction, Auburn wins the bracket and advances to play Yale in the semifinals. And then moving on to the left side of the bracket, we're going to break down the whole thing, featuring 4 teams from the Mountain West, including semifinalist New Mexico, who claimed a 1 seed in the Albuquerque Regional, getting an automatic bid by being the highest-ranked team in the Mountain West Conference that accepted the league's exempt bid. George Washington graduates from the little kids table to the teenagers kids table at the NIT tournament, and its first appearance in a decade after being into college basketball crowned last year. Its reward is a Utah Valley team looking to make a run in its 2nd straight NIT appearance after losing in heartbreaking fashion in the WAC championship. Other notable teams include UC Irvine looking to return to the NIT title game after losing to Chattanooga last year. They'll be matched up against UNLV in the first round, and an interesting matchup between Oklahoma State and Davidson headlines the Tulsa region. As with all the other brackets, here are my predictions. In Albuquerque, the Flames of Illinois Chicago will be my Cinderella team after a run to the Missouri Valley title game as a 6th seed. In Tulsa, I have Oklahoma State running the gauntlet. For the championship rounds, I have Yale beating Auburn in one semifinal and Oklahoma State winning the other semifinal over Illinois Chicago. And in the final, I have Yale continuing the recent mid-major success at the NIT and winning the championship. That is all the time I have today. The NIT can be watched on ESPN Network starting tomorrow. For the Kent State Sports Network, I'm Stone. Enjoy the postseason basketball. We sleep in April.
Thank you, Stone. Yes, we do. There was no shortage in goals as the Anaheim Ducks visited the Canadians in a road victory. How they overcame adversity next on Sports Corner.
Some people judge a book by its cover, and if you're not what people are looking for, you're kind of like a reject.
At school, it feels like everyone's staring at me and I'm just kind of not really a person.
Sometimes I can't believe that you could be proud of me if I'm not proud of myself.
It just was hard today. Nobody was listening to me.
Think of our best times together. Let's do more of that.
Try to understand me more, and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find ways to support your kids at sounditouttogether.org.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back, everyone. With the NHL being back on the ice for 3 weeks now since the Olympics, we have a lot to talk about. But Maddox, what do you got for us to start us off here?
What I got for us is a trip to Winnipeg, Canada, as the Jets are taking on the St. Louis Blues. Jets having a tough season so far. First period here, 0-0. It's going to be Hayden Fleury scoring his first goal of the year for Winnipeg. 1-0 here, 12 minutes to go in the first. Winnipeg on the break. It's going to be Mark Shifley scoring his 31st goal, getting it past Jordan Binnington, the Olympic goalie for Team Canada. 2-0 now in the third. Blues desperately looking for a comeback here. Little ticky-tack passes here. Going to get it in the back of the net. Dalibor Dvorsky scoring on that one. Now 2-1. Delayed penalty here. Third period. Under 8 minutes to go. Winnipeg looking for the dagger as Kyle Connor going to slot that one in to make it 3-1. We head later into the third. Under a minute now. Empty net. St. Louis desperately looking for a goal, and they'll get one here as Dylan Holloway going to score that one. But it would not be enough. They'd go empty net here with 3 seconds to go, and Winnipeg would get to 28, 28, and 10. A perfect 500 on the season for the Jets. No Connor Hellebuyck in this game, but the Winnipeg Jets pick up a 3-2 victory.
And we take you to Capital One Arena in downtown D.C. in the Chinatown district. We are going to see a great one-timer goal from Matt Roy, all the way from the blue line. That is going to be a great shot. Then just a little bit later, still in the second, McAvoy to David Pastrnak. Pasternak's going to fumble it, but also from the blue line, McAvoy is going to get a shot. Nasty shots from both Matt Roy and McAvoy. Into the third now, off the face-off, ricochet to Rasmus Sandin, and he's going to hit that in for the one-timer. Really just a stroke of luck there, if anything. Not a great shot there, but what a weird play. And right after that, Pastrnak is going to get a great one-timer there. You're going to see it's going to be tipped off by McAvoy. Then you'll see in the top left corner, this is the 9th shootout as it goes to overtime. Two of the worst shootouts in the league, and this is going to be a goal from Fraser Minton, his first in history.
Now taking you from Washington to Montreal now for Ducks Canadiens. Super close record between two solid teams. Ducks obviously leading their division. Canadiens third in theirs as we head to the first period. Ducks going to get this one going. Chris Kreider to Leo Carlson on the score. Carlson leading his team in points with 42. Anaheim up 1-0 early. They're third in the NHL in shots on goal, so just dominant performance so far from them as we head to the second period. The top of it, Montreal going to get on the board. Alex Newhook finding a lane now for the score. It'll be 2-1 Ducks, but not for too long because exactly a minute later, Cole Caulfield's going to find the net, zipping it past a few defenders and the goalie there. And it's going to be a tie game as we still stay in the second period. It's all Montreal as Nick Suzuki gets some help from Josh Anderson. Montreal coming all the way back. Goal 23 on the year from him. 2-3 Canadiens. Ducks having some fight left. Kreider and Carlson helping Troy Terry get the puck home. We have another tie game. 3-3 now in the third period. What's going to happen with 2:35 left? We got Cutter Gauthier for the lead. It'll be 4-3 now, and the score will end up staying the same. Ducks will go to Montreal, take down the Canadiens. They have the Flyers at home on Wednesday.
Well, much like the NBA and much like the NCAA, playoffs are just abound, and the NHL is no exception. We are coming down close, like with the Boston Bruins, barely holding a wild card spot, and that's what I want to talk about right now. Who do we see maybe clawing their way into the playoffs, and who do we see maybe faltering out late in the season?
There's a lot of options here. The wild card races, a lot of the top three spots are pretty set, but the wild card races are very, very close. Lots of contenders. My big call is I see San Jose moving in, and I see Edmonton falling out of the 3 spot, making it out of the playoffs entirely. A lot of it comes down to vibes, but it also comes down to schedule. It comes down to overall team. Edmonton obviously has Draisaitl and McDavid, and they are the only energy on that team. If you watch any game, none of the other teams have energy. You can see McDavid is trying to start fights, trying to start rough people up, but there's just nothing that he can do to get that energy, and I think the Sharks just want it more. They have also Edmonton has a lot rougher of a schedule than the statistics show. There's a lot of teams that are really hot right now that they are going to be up against, and I don't see them making those wins. I see them faltering out.
It would be tough after making back-to-back Stanley Cup finals to completely miss the playoffs, but Evan, who do you have in, who do you have out?
Yeah, so in the Eastern, obviously I'm going to go with the Senators making it in. I think the Red Wings, the Detroit Red Wings, are actually going to fall. They have just been on a slump as of recent. I think as the season dwindles down, they've lost all their momentum. Detroit, I think they're going to fall out. While the Senators, 2 convincing wins over the Sharks and the Ducks. I think those are 2 very high-quality teams that you go in there and you beat them. Super important game, obviously. Jake Bather's son, he moves me. He does. He moves me. He's a really big reason why I picked the Senators to go in, and especially the Red Wings to go out. Maddox, do you have a set of teams?
Yeah, I think the Red Wings are kind of like they are holding on for dear life.
Yeah. If they don't make it in, that would be tragic. This would be.
Absolutely. Because they were first in
for a
and they
long time,
haven't
right?
made the playoffs in years.
Yeah.
It would be
another
awful,
historic
collapse for the Red Wings.
Yeah.
No, I have them falling out, but I do not have the Senators getting in. Instead, I have the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Okay.
They sit a
hometown
point behind. They sit a point behind. They are 5-1-4 in their last 10. If they can turn some of those overtime losses into just straight up wins and start winning that 1 point back, this Blue Jackets team is playing phenomenal ever since they fired their head coach and ever since Bones has taken over. And it seems like the Olympic break has not really slowed them down that much. Zach Werenski still playing at a very high level, looking for some hardware in the award season. I see this Blue Jackets team. They almost did it last season. They made a heck of a push last season, but I see them finally overcoming that and capitalizing on it. But one of these teams that is very much not in the playoffs, probably to the surprise of many, is the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
News broke out, Austin Matthews done for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
What is next for the Toronto Maple Leafs?
I mean, Austin Matthews, they have to rebuild, and that's going to suck for Toronto fans. Toronto is maybe one of the hardest cities to play in as a sports as an athlete. I'd say maybe only behind New York or maybe LA, but
Philadelphia.
Philly's a big one. But they will not accept failure as a fan base, and unfortunately, I think Toronto is just right now, culturally, they're okay with losing, and they need to rebuild as a team. They need to rebuild their culture. It is really a shame that if you see the hit, Austin Matthews goes down and no one goes to defend against Radko Gudas of the Anaheim Ducks. It is a rough scene to see. You don't destroy someone's captain and just go by as the Leafs have allowed.
Well, we'll see what the Toronto Maple Leafs hold for the future. Obviously, some building to do there. But thank you for joining us. See you at the desk, as always, as Puck Talk is only getting crazier. But taking you from the ice to the diamond, our correspondents Ryan Mead and Matthew McConaughey are now over at the green screen. Guys.
There has been a lot going on in the world of sports, from the baseball field all the way over to the tee box of golf. Isn't that right, Ryan?
Yeah, Matthew. We've had a lot of important stories from the past week, so to start things off, let's begin with baseball. Now, in the World Baseball Classic, the United States took on the Dominican Republic last night in the semifinals. The U.S. would go down 1-0 in the second inning after a 401-foot home run from Junior Candelario. But then in the fourth inning, Gunnar Henderson tied the game for the U.S., and Roman Anthony also hit one out of the park, giving the U.S. a 2-1 lead. The game was in a standstill until the very end, when a controversial strikeout was called to end the game and give the United States the win. The U.S. now will take on the winner of Italy and Venezuela on Tuesday, March 17th at 8 p.m. on Fox.
Let's go over to the golf course. Cameron Young wins the 2026 Players Championship at the TPC Sawgrass on the intimidating 18th tee, sharing the lead at 13 under. Young was able to wipe away the water ball he had on Saturday and piped a 375-yard drive that set him up with a wedge shot from 98 yards out. The wedge shot set Young up on the back edge of the green for a 15-foot putt back into the win to win the tournament. The 28-year-old secured his second PGA Tour victory with several birdies in the final round to beat Matthew Fitzpatrick. This win marked a major milestone after several runner-up finishes.
Well, across the world, we certainly had some great stories while we were away.
We sure did, Ryan. But now let's move over to the rest of Sports Corner.
Thank you, guys. March Madness has begun, and with that, the cast of Sports Corner tells you their predictions.
Kent State University's Marcello Fantoni has served on the scientific committee of the Palace of Versailles for the past decade. Through this prestigious position, Fantoni creates worldwide connections, helping Kent State students and faculty realize one-of-a-kind global experiences.
Today, Kent State University is a global university. We have a presence in every single continent of this planet. If we send our Ohio students all over the world and bring their experiences back, we create the conditions in Ohio for a much healthier and stronger development of the entire state. When you come back and you have more tools in your brain, more options for solutions, you are a more talented, a more versatile professional. And this is what the market wants today. The future of higher education is global.
At Kent State University, we want all students to develop a global perspective. And with more than 200 study abroad programs in 60 countries, there are many opportunities. One is found in the Central African country of Rwanda, where students connect with survivors of the 1994 genocide.
So we're learning about the reconciliation process. Rwanda sort of took a very community-based approach to how they recovered.
In January, a group of Kent State student athletes traveled to Rwanda, where they organized a soccer camp for children.
While we were there, we got to work with kids and spread our knowledge about sports.
And we brought shoes, cleats, soccer balls for everybody.
It was a transformational experience.
The people of Rwanda were full of joy. They were also full of excitement and life.
I think the big thing that I'm going to take home personally from the experience is perspective. There's not just one way to do things.
This was unlike any other academic experience I've ever had.
Welcome back. It's now time for our segments of the week, but before I shine a spotlight on an individual, Maddox will melt down, so I hope you guys brought some water. Maddox.
Oh, yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Evan. And one thing we haven't really talked about, the NFL offseason and free agency happened over spring break, and one of the biggest stories that came out of it was Max Crosby was traded from the Las Vegas Raiders to the Baltimore Ravens, until he wasn't. News broke a few days ago that the trade was actually rescinded. Baltimore gave up 2 first-rounders for Max Crosby, the premier edge rusher for the Las Vegas Raiders, until it was learned that he failed his physical. His knee is practically smoked brisket at this point. And so they had to rescind said trade, where Crosby is now back on the Raiders. And you may say, well, this is just, it sucks for the Ravens. They wanted to get a superstar edge rusher, and now they just can't get it. What also sucks for the Raiders is they went ahead and spent $281.5 million on free agency, including Ravens center Tyler Linderbaum, who now joins the Las Vegas Raiders. The Ravens, meanwhile, lost 7 players to free agency. So overall, a disaster for the cap books of the Las Vegas Raiders, and a disaster for the roster of the Baltimore Ravens, who did, though, get a consolation prize in Taylor Hendricks. So maybe the Ravens can turn things around after a difficult season last year. Evan, shows what we got in the spotlight.
Well, I couldn't imagine being a Ravens fan today, but after a long, and I mean long break, Schofield's spotlight, is back. This week I'm targeting a player that not only steps up when necessary, but delivers career-defining moments regularly. We're going to take you to Miami, Florida for the World Baseball Classic. We saw a close but intense game between Team USA and the Dominican Republic, where the states clinched their ticket to the finals in a 2-1 victory. One man who helped with that is none other than Paul Skeens, the reigning Cy Young winner. Not only does he prove week in and week out that he's a dude, but he holds one of the most stacked lineups in baseball to 1 run. Now, that's pretty impressive. How? How did he have the perfect game? Not in the slightest. Did he have a perfect game? No. But he couldn't stop Junior Caminero, obviously, from crushing a 1-2 slider for an early 1-0 lead in the 3rd inning. But he had his fair share of 1, 2, 3 innings that he's quite used to at this point in his career, I'd say. Skeens defines what legacy is every time he steps on the mound, and he has showed the world that even in the biggest moments, he does not step down whatsoever. But after facing an average ball speed of 90.8 miles per hour, the DR hitters they couldn't adjust to Skeens and his fastball abilities. Skeens pitched 9 strikeouts in his 2 games starting. Skeens also has constantly been that guy for Pittsburgh. In fact, it's sad to admit he may go somewhere, and he will go somewhere else in the near future, but Skeens' stats speak for themselves, as his ERA is sat at around 1.97 in his 2 years in the professionals, which is something outstanding from a 23-year-old LSU product. What does the future hold for a top 10 player in Major Baseball? Only time will tell. But for now, Paul Skeens is my spotlight player of the week. Now, a lot of basketball today.
It's been the topic of the whole show.
A lot of basketball. Why not continue with more basketball? We're going to give some obvious March Madness predictions. I know some of us have made some brackets so far, I think. I have not made my bracket yet, and I'm very sad to say that, but I will be making a bracket here. Or am I not able to anymore?
No, you're still play starts tomorrow, so you got plenty of time. But I do want to start things off on the wall. We got 3 guys over there. What do you got for some early March Madness predictions? Let's just hear who is your favorite, who do you have winning it all, just the simple stuff like that.
So first, I just want to say UConn is not going to win it all. I think they're going to lose. I have UCLA putting up a little bit of a fight in there. They have big wins against Iowa, OSU, Oklahoma, Michigan State, and Michigan. I feel like they could put a little fight into this. I don't know about necessarily win it all, but I feel like they could put up a decent fight.
For a team that I think can make a decent fight will be Vanderbilt, because I have them playing Florida again, and I think they're going to beat Florida again. And I think, for Vanderbilt, I think they're going to make a huge run. And who do I have winning it all? I'm going to have to say Duke. Even though I said that last year, I'm still riding for them because, I tend to overthink, Brack.
All right, Mead.
Number 1 overall seed for a reason, Ryan.
Yeah, so March is for upsets. One team that has really played better than expectations this year, Miami, Ohio, they're going to go to the Final Four this year. But who's going to win it all? Houston.
All right, let's take it now to the roundtable with CO. What do you got for us?
Duke.
K.
Michigan.
K. Connor.
Arizona.
Okay, Stone.
You know what? Basketball is a war of attrition. Duke, not the healthiest. Give me Arizona.
Okay, the Wildcats. All right, we got some Duke representation. All right.
I'm against McConaughey here. I really like the UConn Huskies this year with the men. Always.
I mean,
in it
both
to win
men's,
it.
both men's and women's
All
side.
the time.
The UConn Huskies
What
very
about
good.
Maddox, do we have time for Cinderella picks?
Yeah, I mean, give me the Michigan Wolverines to win it all. UCLA didn't beat Michigan, by the way.
I got 2 Cinderellas. Give me Akron to go to the Sweet 16.
Yes.
Akron Sweet 16?
And give me Miami to win their first 2 games of the tournament.
This guy likes
Okay. Does that include the first 4 games?
That includes the first 4, and that includes the first round.
So they get bounced round to 32. Any Cinderellas over on the table?
Akron, Miami.
I think Texas A&M. I genuinely think they could possibly
Texas A&M. I'm feeling Tennessee kind of, but my deeper cut, I really like South Florida.
Yeah, you had. Okay.
Oh, I got an applause.
You had USF over Louisville, so it'll be very exciting to see, won't it, Evan?
Yeah, for sure. I think Akron at the same time. I'm with Josh here. I'm with almost everyone. That'd be a Cinderella Max story. But thank you guys for your tournament predictions. And thank you guys so much for watching.
For updates from us 24/7, head over to KentStater.com and be sure to tune into a brand new episode of the Playbook Podcast. I'm Maddox Miller.
And I'm Evan Schofield, saying from the opening play to the final call, the Kent Stater Sport Network covers it all. Good night.
watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
If you love them enough to drive an hour to cheer them on as they get beat 11-0 in the rain, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.